Here we are going to discuss a topic that is pharynx. Pharynx is basically a funnel-like structure. It is a funnel-like structure. If we talk about it's like it is a station or a pathway through which food as well as air both passes. Means it is a funnel like structure. Means if we talk about its structure, it is a funnel like structure. But if we talk about like what is the function of it is basically a pathway or the station from where food as well as air crosses. That is known as a pharynx. That area is known as pharynx. Now here, as you can see a diagram, basically there are three types of pharynx. Pharynx are of three types. First is nasopharynx, second is oropharynx, third is laryngopharynx. Now pharynx is divided into three parts. First is nasopharynx, oropharynx and laryngopharynx. These are basically three types of pharynx. Okay, so now first one type, that is a nasopharynx. Nasopharynx is basically present. It is means the part or the point where the internal nostril, that is known as, here we have external nostrils through which we inhale air, but there are the nostrils that are inside our body, that after nose, that is here in this part there is the internal nostrils, that is known as internal nostrils. Here are basically the internal nostrils, that is known as internal nostrils, or we can say inner ear, that are internal nostrils. And the part or the point where internal nostrils opens, both right nostril or the left nostril, means the part, it is the simple thing that the part where I can write here, the part where the internal nostrils opens, that part is known as nasopharynx. We, as we know that in our ear we are having the types of ears as well. So in the middle ear there is a tube known as eustachian tube. Eustachian tube is basically a tube that is it this tube basically opens in the nasopharynx. That can be an MCQ question, that eustachian tube will open in which pharynx. So eustachian tube will open in a nasopharynx. And we know what is a eustachian tube. Eustachian tube is basically a tube that is in the middle ear. It is in the middle ear and it basically maintains a balance. It maintains a balance in a sound pressure. Air sound pressure means mostly it is closed, but when you chew or yawn it opens for the time being so that they can maintain a air pressure. So now the nasopharynx is making a connection. Which type of connection nasopharynx is making? Nasopharynx is making a connection between the middle ear, means from which the eustachian tube is coming, is between the middle ear as well as middle ear and oral cavity. That is again the MCQ's question. The nasopharynx is making a connection. The connection between what? The connection between the middle ear and as well as the oral cavity. Nasopharynx is basically lined, or we can say covered. The most suitable word will be lined. Nasopharynx is lined with the cells that are known as ciliated, columnar, pseudo stratified epithelial cells. Nasopharynx is basically lined with the ciliated columnar pseudo-stratified epithelial cells. Why they are called as ciliated cells? Ciliated means cilia is present, and when cilia moves, so the pathogen or the bacteria, that the germ that comes inside with the air, basically in nasopharynx, it is a pathway from where the air passes. So when cilia move, there is any germs or the bacteria in the in the air, so cilia will trap these bacteria or the germs and filter that air. Basically it filter that air and then it moves towards a trachea. So cilia basically moves. So it is lined with the ciliated columnar pseudo-stratified epithelial cells. Now we are going to discuss a second type, that is oropharynx. Oro word basically means mouth. So oro word basically means it is a mouth. It related to a mouth. So a mouth leads to a wider cavity. A wider cavity means it is opening into a pharynx. We can say the part where food particles and the water passes, that part or that area is known as oropharynx. Again repeating that it is a wider cavity means a part where the food particles or the water passes, that is known as oropharynx. Oropharynx is basically lined, as nasopharynx was lined with the ciliated columnar pseudo-stratified epithelial cells. Oropharynx is lined with a non-keratinized squamous stratified epithelial cells. These cells, the non-keratinized squamous stratified epithelial cells, basically line the esophagus wall. Now we will talk about the third type, that is laryngopharynx. Laryngopharynx is basically, it is a crucial part. Crucial means important, essential part or crucial part, where the food particles, air, water, all these crosses. That part where the food, water as well as air crosses, that part is known as laryngopharynx. Or we can say that the upper part of the trachea where larynx is present, means that is known as a larynx. So where larynx is present, that is known as a laryngopharynx, and it is also lined with the non-keratinized squamous stratified epithelial cells.